He's been a great businessman. He's been a terrifically effective political leader. He has energy, he's creative, and he cares. And he's been this way from the beginning. I guess this story will be legend by the time this campaign's over. But he started his first business at 14, sealing driveways with a little red wagon. Because he figured out at 14, his parents, who were wonderful but didn't have much money, his daddy never made more than $30,000 in his life. And he'd have to save money for college. And soon his business outgrew his red wagon. And his mother had to drive him around to his contract jobs. Then he got a truck before he was old enough to drive. And his work crew was not old enough to drive. But what the heck, he was an entrepreneur. At the time he was 30, he took over as chairman of a small bank that was going broke. He turned it around and saved the jobs, protected the depositors. That's what he's done his whole life. Yeah, he's made a lot of money. He did it by taking care of other people and solving problems and working his heart out. He spent 20 years in Virginia growing businesses and raising kids. But he's still the same person he was when he was 14. One of the most moving personal experiences I ever had was going to his father's funeral. And keep in mind, his dad was a working guy who never made more than 30 grand a year in his entire life. They filled the entire massive Catholic cathedral in Syracuse with the people who loved him, that he had touched because he cared about people. That's the kind of governor you get when you elect Terry McAuliffe. He's also the right sort of bipartisan guy. That is, he'll reach out and work with the Republicans, but he won't let somebody jack you around. When he was president, when he was chairman of the Democratic Committee, I'll never forget this, and Vice President Cheney was writing the Bush energy bill in secret with the energy lobbyists, Terry started raising Cain about it. So Enron sent lobbyists, you remember Enron, don't you? The poster children for Republican economics. They sent people to the DNC and they wanted to see Terry and they told him to lay off and he threw him out of the building. That's bipartisanship at its best. But here's something else I want to tell you. Terry asked if he could come see me one day and bring a team of young people that are working with him and talk about this governor's race. And I said, well, you know, Terry, I'm a policy wonk. I actually think it matters what you do. In the end, it doesn't matter if you're a good speaker, it doesn't matter if you raise a lot of money, nothing else matters. The only thing that matters is people are better off when you quit than when you started. So we get there. He came to the meeting in my office. I was blown away by how much he already knew about the way the Virginia budget worked, about the way the governor has to handle budget cuts, about the impact of the economy on different parts of the state, and about the kinds of things that could be done. And I say this, I loved being governor of my state. I loved doing it for 12 years. I was very close at the time to the people who were then governor of Virginia. I know something about the Commonwealth, and I know a lot about this job. And it matters if you have a real understanding of it. It matters if you're creative. It matters if you know how to work with different kinds of people. It's not easy to work with a part-time legislature. It isn't easy. The governor finds that out every day. Terry McAuliffe will have these guys up all hours of the day and night talking about what needs to be done. And he also knows that Virginia, like the rest of America, has to have a source of new jobs every 5 to 8 years if you're going to keep growing. The fundamental flaw in the whole economic strategy of the Republicans the last 8 years was just reflected in this financial collapse. They didn't invest money in things that would create jobs for you. All of the growth before the collapse was in housing, finance, and consumer debt, so that middle-class people were maxing out their credit cards and taking out second mortgages on their homes, and the money was all flowing to Wall Street instead of flowing from Wall Street down to Main Street, because we did not have a job strategy. He knows that. And so when he goes around and gives these speeches about turning chicken litter into electricity or putting up windmills off the coast, he understands a fundamental truth, that for the next 10 years, the only way we can create enough jobs to put everybody in Virginia to work and give everybody a job with a rising wage, including people that work in areas that have nothing to do with this, is to tighten the labor markets by changing the way we produce and consume energy. That is the key to our economic future. And if you do it, the people running the grocery stores and the dry cleaners will make more money. All the contractors will make more money. Everybody will make more money. But the key is you just think about how much of a role energy has in everything we do. If you change the way you produce and consume it, there is a limitless pool of potential economic growth. You just have to decide whether you want Virginia at the head of the pack or behind it. This election ought to be about ideas. The Republicans seem to find this as an opportunity to prove that they're still alive and well in a culturally traditional state. Who cares? Right? Really, who cares? I mean, you know, I reached a point in my life where I can say whatever I want. Now, when you're, of course, when you're an ex-president, nobody cares what you say anymore, but it's all right. But look, the only thing that matters when it's all said and done, I look back on my career, the only thing that matters, are people better off when you quit than when you started? Nothing else matters. And I'm telling you that in all the speeches I have made for other people and all the stops I have made, I have never campaigned for anybody who was better made for the moment in which he or she ran than Terry McAuliffe is now. You should make him your next governor.